So I said we want to optimize our user experience of our website. So where do we start? Honestly, the best place to start is the highest impact things. And how do we know what's going to have the highest impact on our website? Well, some assumptions we could make because this is such a graphic heavy website is that the images could use some sort of optimization, but it's an assumption that we can verify with Chrome DevTools. So I am going to inspect the page, and here we have DevTools, and obviously at network, this is what tells us how fast the page is downloading and the size of it. Now, first, before we even dig into this thing, I just want to make sure you have an option enabled, which is disable cache. It's either a checkbox here, or if you don't see it there for some reason, if in some future version they take it out of the visual view, you could go to the gear and you have disable cache while DevTools is open, which is important. The browser, in order to boost performance of pages that you visit frequently, it downloads local copies of your website. Well, downloads certain aspects of your website, and images are a big thing. So, essentially, by having disable cache enabled, it simulates the very first time the user visits your website and downloads everything. So as you see here, I'm at 5.3 megabytes, which is correct, and my load time is 6.45 seconds. That's good. I mean, no, it's not good. Rather, this is actually good for my server because I've seen on average this fluctuate between 6 to up to 14 seconds. But what happens is, let me show you. If I enable cache at 6.4, now the images are downloaded on my computer in a place that I don't even know where they are, right? That just the browser has access to. If I refresh it, that number should go down. Let's see what happens over there. Yeah, look at that. So these numbers went down just because of the browser caching to 2.4 kilobytes and 3.76 seconds. That's impressive, and that's the browser helping us out a lot in our in optimizing our page. But we're still talking about that first download, and if our page, you know, the reason these numbers have gone down so significantly is because I just quickly refreshed the page. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that cache has an expiration date, right? So after a certain while, if the visitor doesn't visit you for whatever the server has set up, if the visitor doesn't revisit you rather in a day or a week or a month or whatever the frequency of the changes are, they're going to be back at that re-downloading the same page and it taking a long time to download, right? Like I said, when we disable the cache and we refresh it, we see that it does take considerably longer, and we're pumping out 5.3 megabytes. So that is something we're going to need to work on. So that tells us right there, this gives us a really good clue, really good evidence of what we need to optimize and that our images do that. But also just a note of another feature that DevTools has is incredibly helpful is page speed. So when we look at page speed, we analyze, and there's a number of elements that it's telling us to fix over here. Most of them are low priority. That's what the L stand for. But the high priority thing is optimize images. So what it's saying here is that our images aren't necessarily reduced as much as possible to be optimized. So basically, by optimizing, we reduce the file size by stripping out all sorts of metadata and by all sorts of metadata and anything extra in the file without reducing the quality of the image to really not send as many bits out through the internet as possible. Um, there's so many benefits to doing this. First, if you're a smaller company, um, it's just going to make your page run faster. If you just have a portfolio site, you're a graphic designer who has a graphic heavy website, you want your stuff to load quick, because if it takes forever to load, that just really ruins whatever aesthetic you're trying to present. But if you're a big company, like if you're Google, I mean, shaving off one megabyte off your page size, and it's being downloaded a million times. I mean, what you're talking about here is potentially saving like a gigabyte or a terabyte of bandwidth. And the big companies, they pay for bandwidth. They don't. It's not like unlimited, like our internet. They have to pay for it to other companies. So you're talking about what could be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of savings per month in bandwidth costs. So optimizing is very important, and the Chrome tools, Chrome Dev Tools, between the network and the page speed, it's going to tell you what some of the highest value, highest impact elements are, and that's a good place to start.